or like the two names, the first maybe second letter, but the second name should start with a capital letter, so that it's like it tells that there are two words joined together.
Okay. Okay. I think that's fine. Okay.
You also mentioned that we can start variable name with an underscore, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I think with the naming convention, I think that's brilliant. I think you've done well. So what else do we have in memory apart from the naming convention? I think we. Yeah, you were saying something.
For string, the maximum length of characters that will make it true is 20.
Okay.
Like if you are using the string variable, say the maximum length of characters that will make it true is like 20.
Yeah, 20. The maximum is 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then when she talked about, is it Mudro? Mudro to mean remember.
Yes.
Is it Mudro or Mudro?
Yeah, Mudro. Okay. Also means remember. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So do you have anything in mind concerning the Boolean? What do you have in mind concerning Boolean?
The Boolean say anything 0 or empty is false.
Okay.
And anything containing any item or one is true.
It's true. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's good.
And say it's a subclass of integer.
Yeah, it's a subclass of integer. Okay. I think you have it. So now, if, for instance, you want to assign a value to a variable, how will you do that? If, for instance, I have a value, maybe 20, and I want to assign it to a variable, let's say number 1. If you ask you to write a statement or a line of code, how will you do, or a script? How will you do that?
Say again.
I'm saying that you will be tasked, okay, to assign a value, let's say value 20, to a variable, let's say a variable number 1. What process? How will you do that?
So integer is true when it's 1. And it's false when it is 0.
Okay, so I'm talking about hope now we know what a value means and then what a variable means, right?
Yes.
So what is a variable?
The integer, the string, the Boolean.
Okay, the integer, the Boolean, okay. Any other idea? Okay, so the variable, I last time I said the variable is just the label, right? Just the label. So that is the variable. Okay. And the value is the data that you are assigning to the variable. So that would be maybe depending on the type of data. So like the string and all those things that you are talking about is the type of variable. the type of value, the type of value that you can assign to the variable. Okay, so your value being, if it's an int, then it's integer, is going to make the variable what? An integer what? Variable, because it's the data that will determine the type of variable. Okay, so now the question is, I have a value 20, and then I want to assign it to a variable, say number 1, and I'm saying that how will I do that?
You are going to use the let me see, equal to, which is the, doesn't mean the normal equal to, but then it's an operation or a character to assign a value to a variable.
Okay, so you use the assignment operator. Okay, so that is the key. We use the assignment operator to assign the value to the variable. So if, for instance, that will be your variable, let's say, so naming your variable comes in here. So I can say a number, or in lowercase _1. So that is my variable name that I've given. So now I can assign a value of say 20 to my variable. So to assign means that 20 assigned to what? The variable, which is number _1. So that's what I mean. Okay, so if I ask you that I have a value, let's say name, like your name, like Prince, and then I want to assign Prince to first name, and I'm asking you to write a Python script to represent that. Prince, how will you do that?
Please, the question again.
So I'm saying that I have a value, and the value is Prince. Okay, and I want to assign it to a variable, say first name. Okay, so I'm asking Prince to write a script to represent that.
Let me see. Share this one for me.
So that would be what. So what data type will Prince be in? What data type will Prince be in?
Data.
What data type can we classify Prince?
Data type.
Yeah. In terms of the value, what data type can we classify Prince?
Maybe I'm not getting it.
I'm seeing that I believe we know what a value is, right? And then we know what a variable also is. We know a value will depend the types of data. Okay, so if I add, if I have one will definitely will be what? One will be what? What type of value will be, or data will
Integer.
be that? If I have 2.5, what type of value will be that?
Float.
A float.
Float. If I have Prince, what type of value? If I have Prince, what type of value?
Is it a string?
The string,
Okay.
because
String.
Prince will be of characters. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
of course string. Okay, so that's what I mean. So then you assign Prince to what? The variable name by her first name. So these are the basic things that I want us to just keep it in mind. So let me share my screen. Let's just grab these concepts, then we can build upon. Okay, please can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this is the concept. Okay. So variable assigned to value. Okay. And then the variable is just a label. So variable is just a label. Okay. So let me comment. And then value depend on the type of data. Okay. And sorry, the types of data. Okay. And then data. So the
Okay, so
type of
it threw an error because you didn't bring the hashtag for the comments.
yeah, I didn't comment it. That's why.
Okay.
Okay. So a value also depends on the type of what data type, or maybe depend on the data type. Let me put it down. Depend on the data type. Okay, since I'm okay. And then we look at data type. So the data type,
Please, what's the difference between depend on the type of data and the depend on the data type? What's the difference between the type of data and data type? Is it the same thing?
oh, there is no, when I say type of data, it is the same thing that I'm trying to say. Data type means that the type of data can be either integer, float, or okay. And can also say data type. When we say data type, we know that the data will be of a value. Okay. So what type of value are you talking about? I hope you get me. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, we are
It
here.
was not. It was not clear. Like, so you mean type of data is different from data type?
No. I'm saying that is the same. I mean the
Okay.
same thing. Okay.
Okay.
If
Sure.
I say
Sure.
data, I'm talking about a type of value. And because I want to put the type of data instead of missing data type. You get me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can put it the same as the type of data or data type. It means the same thing. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So we can say the type of data. Okay. So the type of data, what type of data are we look at? They are so type of data or data type. Okay. So we are looking at int. We are looking at floats. Okay. We are looking at Boolean, which is bool. Okay. And then we also look at
String.
last week about the string str. So I can just shortcut it like this. It's the same thing. Okay. We look at list last time. We also went through the dictionary. So these are all we went through tuple. Okay. And then set two as well. Okay. And what again? I think we have the
Byte.
non type
Byte.
where bytes.
Byte.
We have bytes. Yeah. We have the bytes. And then the non type.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. The non type. So these are the data that you can provide. Okay. So depending on the information that you are given to set. So if I give a command like, hey, I have a value, say 1, assign it to a variable, say number 1, and then I ask you to write a Python script to demonstrate that. So basically, you start with number. So it depends on, because you've done the naming conversion. So your number 1 can be number 1 like this, or number underscore 1. Okay, and then assign it to 1. So this is the Python script to demonstrate that if I say that I have a value, say Prince, write a Python script to assign it to first name. Okay, in that case, you will do the first underscore
Name.
okay, and then you assign to. Since I said Prince, what comes in mind?
String.
What type of data
String.
we are looking at? And we say that anything within a quote is what is a string.
A string.
So I'll type Prince like this. Okay. So if I have a data and I say, hey, is married. So is married can either be is married, yes or no, or true or false. Okay, is married, true or false. So if I say is married, true or false, what comes in mind?
Boolean.
Boolean. So if we say is married is the variable, assign a value which is a Boolean to. So if I state is, then I say married. Okay, and then I assign it to a Boolean, let's say true, then I mean true. If I say false, then that is false. Okay, so this, the type of value here, the type of data will determine the type of variable you have. I hope it's clear. But apart from that, a variable is just what? A label. Like we are saying, it's just a label. So if I assign maybe 1 to first name, what makes first name? If I
Integer.
assign 1 to first integer, yes, integer. Okay, it doesn't matter the name, say first name, but it's the value that is going to make it integer. If I assign prince to is married, what makes it married?
String.
String. Okay, so that is the basic understanding of this. So once we get this concept, now we can build on. Okay, so for now we already know the types of data that we can pass through. We know when we talk about integer, what integer means. Okay, we talk about floats, we know what float means, and then the Boolean we already know, and then string we know what string means. That basic understanding, all that I'm saying is just a basic understanding. There's more to string than what we know for now. By just the basic understanding, we have it. And then a list can be a list. And I made mention of the sign for a list. Okay. I say a list sign is what? Do you have in mind? What sign do we use for a list?
List. Like, is it brackets or
The
the?
square, yeah, the square bracket.
Yeah.
Okay, so the square bracket is the sign that we use for what? A list. So once we have that in mind, now we know. And then when it comes to a dictionary, that is what? The category. Okay, and then the tuple is called that one is the bracket that we use for tuple, and the set uses the same category. Okay, and when it comes to bytes, the byte use what? Has B, and the B and the rest will be what? A quote in front. So this is how you represent a byte. So a byte will be, let's say, byte, byte data. So this is byte data. So in bytes, what do we have? We have B, and then the next one is this. Okay, so this is byte. So whatever that you have in there is byte. So now if you want to check the data type, you see that what will come will be a byte. Okay, so basically this is how you can represent what? A byte. Okay, this is how you can represent a byte.
Okay, so a byte is like a
So
string, but then has a B before.
Yeah.
yeah, you have the B in front. Okay, that is byte. Okay, so for now, we've gotten the basic understanding of this. Now, I want us to go deeper. I think last time where we got into, let's see where we got to. I think we got to. Let's see. Okay. Then we're done with this, right? We went through the types, all these ones, right? We went through the type, we went through the string and all those things. I did this, right?
Yeah.
If we complete the collection type, yeah, we did complete that. Okay. So we can move on to this. Okay. So if I have a value like this, so let's see this. This one that I have here is a string. Okay, this is a string. We already know that anything within the quote is what? A string. Okay, but you could see that each string comes with what? A character. So character what? Character 0, character 1, character 2, character 3, 4, character 5, character 6, character 7, character 8, character 9. Okay, and then you can see that each is occupying what? A position. Okay, how we can see they occupy a position. So I made mention last time of what we call indexing. Okay, so indexing simply means the location of each character, where each character can be located. So I said if I want to, let's see, have the first character, we know in programming we say counting start from where? Counting start from
Is it the first character?
no, I'm saying in computing, counting start from counting start from
I don't remember.
start from 0. Okay,
Mm.
counting start from 0. So everything that you count in computing start from 0. Okay, so it means that the first character here is occupying what? Position 0, and the
Okay.
next one occupying what? Position. The
1.
next one occupying position. Yeah, position 2, the next position 3, up to the last one. Okay, so if I want to have the first one, I could have my square bracket like this, and then you put in the position. So position 0 here will give me the first letter.
Yeah, I
So
remember. I
now you
remember
can
now.
see that, okay, if I place 1, what comes in? That will give me the next one. Okay, so that will be the next position, this one. Okay, so this, you can see this string, this is just a string. I've not assigned it to any variable. So this is just the value, because we are using the interpreter mode, so we can play around. But if maybe it's just a Python script like something like what I have here. That one I can't unless I run the code before I can say or print the output before. But for now, I still want us to use the interpreter to get a understanding before we could think of going into the editor. So here, let's assign it to a variable. Okay, so instead of me leaving this one like this, I will assign this one to a variable, say numbers. Numbers underscore 0 underscore 9. I hope it's clear. So I simply mean that numbers from 0 to what? 9. Okay. So from here, if I come down here and I call number underscore 0 underscore 1, all the outputs, what output will I get?
Zero.
If I hit enter, no, if I hit enter, what output are you expecting? What is inside
Is it 10?
no, what is inside number underscore 0 underscore 1? What did I assign to that?
Ah,
I'm just saying
0
that
to 9.
yeah, 0 to 9, because it's 0 to 9 that I've assigned to what? Number underscore 0 underscore 9. So anytime I call this, I'm expecting to see what? 0 to what?
9.
9. I hope it's clear. For
Yeah.
now, we already know this basic understanding. So let's keep that in mind always. So anytime you assign something to a variable, what you've assigned is what is inside. Let's keep that basic understanding. So now here, if I run this, I'm seeing what? 0 to what? 9. That is what I've assigned to this. Okay. Now, if I want just just the first character, then you bring your open and square brackets in front of this. Then you are telling them that, hey, don't print everything like 0 to 9, but give me only position 0. Okay, so when you run this, now it's going to give you only the position 0. I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the basic understanding of getting individual what elements in a string. Okay. Then there comes in another topic called slicing, like this. So when you say slicing in English, what does it mean? Let's forget
Cutting
about
into
probing.
bits.
Dividing.
Dividing. Okay, dividing is what again?
You are cutting into bits.
Cutting into bits. Okay, so it means that we want to cut into bits, copy some part of it. So that is slicing. So we use this for slicing. We use this sign, the square bracket layer, which we know that when we have square brackets in front of a variable, it's going to allow us to get some portion of it. Okay. Now, when you have this sign in the column inside it, it tells us that we want to slice some part. Okay. So now, in front of this, I want to slice. So now, once I have column, it means that now you already know that the beginning of this one, when it's empty, when I leave it empty, by default, it's starting from what? 0. Okay. by default starting from 0. So it means that if I say 0 and then I place here, let's say 2 or 3, and I run this code, do you see what do I have?
You had a
What?
first 3.
First 3. So you can see that we initiated position was 0. So it will give you position 0. If you move to position, so now what it means that it's starting from position 0 and ending at position 3. So it means that it's not going to print the position 3.
3.
So check here, starting at position 0, slice position 0, position 1, position 2. But when you get to position 3, stop. So this is what we call slice. So if slice from 0 to what? Position 3. So now it will give you the element within that space. Okay, so that is slicing. If the same way, you can slice it by just leaving the first position empty. What it means is that by default, Python knows that we are starting the default is on 0. So if I
0.
leave this, it will still be the same. Okay, if you leave it, it will still also be the same. So this and this, they are the same. 0 column 3 is the same as empty space column 3, because when you leave it empty, it pick the default, and default is 0, starting from 0. Okay, now I hope this one is clear.
Sure.
Okay, let's add another. So for now, we can also do this. When you have column, it means that starting from position 0 and print everything within. So for now, like the way I have this one, when I called number underscore 0 underscore 1, you realize that it gives everything. So in the same way, you can also use the slicing with this column, means that you start from 0, but then give me everything. By default, you know that it's starting from 0 and ending at the last one. Print the last one, then end. That's what it means. So when you leave this one empty, it means that here means print the last one and end. Okay, so it will print from the last one and add to print from the first one and add the last one and end. When you leave everything empty, so now you will see here we had all the same thing like we have here. So this is the slicing. So these are some of the things you need to take care of. This is the sign for slice, the column, and you place them in what? Square brackets in front of what? A string. Okay, so that's what it means. Now, if I can also do the same thing by, let's say, starting from another position, you could also start from, let's say, 2 and then end at what? 5. It means that you are starting at position 2. So where will be position 2 be? So position 2 will be what? Under the 2, because 0, 1, 2.
1,
So
2.
position
Sure.
2, bring the
I
2.
think Prince has left too. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, maybe the network.
He's using Teleso. He's sent it.
Is using what? Telecell.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Please, sir, someone is serious.
Okay, but I'm recording it, so
Okay, sure.
okay. So now I hope you've gotten this part.
Sure.
Okay, so here is what mean that we are ending at what? We are ending at 5. Okay, so that give us what? 2, 3, 4, 5. So what are we expecting? What will be the output
Kingsley,
from?
I was having some network issues, so I went off for some time.
Okay, so I
I just
think
rejoined.
okay. So the basic what we started. Can you give me a recap where you've gotten the understanding so I can pick
Oh no,
from
no,
there.
where you are starting the slicing.
The slicing. Okay.
Yes.
So I said with the slicing, we use the column for slicing. You know, when
Yes.
I have maybe I want to copy one, I can put the index there. Maybe there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. That's going to give me that particular element in that position. Okay. But when you
Yeah.
want to copy part of it, let's say you slice part of it, then we use what? The column. Okay, so then you can just pinpoint the position, like we still use the same index. So now you pick the index 0, that will give you the first item. Then the last index that is here talk about the ending. So starting and ending. So here I'm starting at what? Index 0 but ending at index 3. So if you check the string that we have here in the 0 and ending at what? Index 3. So if we check here, you realize that we had what? 0 to what? 2, because that is 0, 1, 2. When it goes to index 3, stop. It's not going to print the 3. Okay, and I'm saying that by default, when you don't start we know that index 0 is what? Is the first character. By default, when you just omit the index 0 and you leave it blank, Python knows that you are starting from what? Index 0.
0. Okay.
Okay. By default, it will bring the same thing. So you could see that we had the same result when we added the 0 and when we did not. So by default, it will start from index 0. Okay. And then I said if I want to slide everything, now you could see here we didn't have for the starting index and then we didn't have the ending index. It means that by default it's going to start from what? Index 0. Then here too, by default it's going to print up to the last item, then end. So it means that it will print everything. So you could see that here we had everything as we called just the variable, which also gave us everything that is assigned to. Okay, I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so now you can slice from any position. You can slice from any position. So now you can see here, I'm starting from what? Index 2. So when you check the item that we have, index 2 is at where? As 2.
2,
So that 2 is index, and I'm stopping at what? 5.
5.
So
So it was two
that,
five
yes, what item are we looking at? What
Two,
element are we looking at?
2, 3, 4.
We are
from
looking at
2, 3, 4. Yeah, 2, 3, 4.
yes, 2, 3, 4. So that is what will come out. Okay, so you will see that we have 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it means that we've sliced from that point. Okay, so you could decide where you want to slide. But then there's one thing that we need to take note of. When you check here, we know that the starting point is 0, but we don't know the last index, right? What happens when you have a big list that you are supposed to slice? So how will you know the last index. Maybe do you get it? You want to print maybe within this part, let's say from here to the last index. How will you know? That is going to be difficult. Okay, so there's another function that we can use called length function. I believe last time you saw it, right?
Yeah.
So the length function counts the length of characters that you have in a string. Okay, it could be a string, it could be a list, it could be so we can use that to count the length of what characters within a list or within a string. Okay, because they all belong to the collection type. Okay, and the collection type, they are all groups. As last time we went through, we know that collection data type are all what? Group of data, not single. Okay, so if we want a single data type, that's the basic. We only look at what? Number and what? Number and Boolean, right? I hope that one is clear.
Yeah.
Please repeat again.
I'm
You say you
saying
have to look at
that
the number and the boolean.
that data type, we have to classify them according to how they are arranged. Okay,
Okay.
so for instance, collection data type are group. Okay, just not a single data type. So when you talk about a string, you know that string is made up of what characters, like the way you are seeing here. So it's a collection. Okay, we talk about a list. A list is also made of different data. So all that you see here, string, list, dictionary, tuple, set, bytes, they are all collection data type. Okay, and then when you talk about basic data type, we are talking about what? Int,
Integer, float, boolean.
because these are single data type.
Sure.
Okay, the single data type, you cannot iterate a single data type. Okay, so that is one thing that I want you to take note. So now the slicing, we can slice, we cannot slice int, we cannot slice float, we cannot slice what? A bool. Okay, because it's just one unit. But we can slice what? A string, can slice what? A list, and the rest. I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the none is none. You already know none is none. None means that it does not exist. Okay, so these are the data type that we do. So now, maybe if I have a bunch of data, okay, which I don't actually know the last data that I have, which position maybe that data occupies. So we can use the length function to get that. So maybe I can say last index. Okay, so my last index, and then I will place number underscore 0_9 inside. Okay, so what it means is that now I've assigned what the last index to this. So if I call last underscore index, this will give me the last index, which is 10. So it tells me that if I count this one from here, which is 0, okay, from here, you could see here, oh, sorry, this one is giving me all the index. Sorry, I said the last. So if I have this one, exactly, it's giving me everything. If you can see here, it's giving me all the index. So now I have everything here. You can see that I have everything here. Okay, so now you can see that I have up to 0, 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It tells you that we have 10 index. So that is what it gave me. So if I want the last index, what do I need to do? If I want the last index, what do I need to do? Any idea?
The last index.
Yes.
But that's what you just did.
No. What I just did is to just get the length of
Oh,
the whole
okay.
thing. So you see that here the length gave me, if I can, 10. So it means that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, just the 10 that we have here. We have 10 elements inside this string, this character. So that's what it gave me. But if I want the last, what do I need to do?
Maybe last index is equal to into brackets number underscore 0_9.
Okay, so if I want the last index, it means that I need to subtract 1 from this. If you get the understanding.
You subtract 1.
Yes.
Because this 10 and 10 is not part of it.
Yes. So because it's counting from 0. Do you get it? Like
Yeah.
indexing is counting from what? 0. So it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So if I want the last index, that would be what? 1 minus the length will give me the last element. I hope it's
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now if I now come in here, the last element is 9. If I get here and just say, I just say 9, okay, place it in the slice. So I will start from here and say number underscore 0 underscore 9. And then I just did this and type in last underscore index column. What are we expecting?
Slicing
So yeah, so what this one? Where am I starting from?
from the last index.
From the last index. So from the last index, what would the output be like? So you could see that after the last index, there's nothing again. So
Yeah.
of course, what will be the output will just be the last index. Okay, so you can see that just 9 because I'm starting. So if I'm starting from 9, after 9, there's nothing again. Okay, so of course that is the only thing that will come. But if now I just change this one to I just change this one to let's see 0. All that would be
It will give you from 0
0
to
to
8.
8. Okay, so 0 to 8. So you see that it will stop at. So now if I want the if I want the um I want the last index to be part. Like I want 9 to be part. What do I need to do? If I want
plus
9
1.
to be instead of I'll do what?
+1.
+1. Okay, so let's see. So if I have index +1, so I'll be getting okay.
Okay.
So now you see that. So in programming, when you don't know the last index, maybe you don't know, so you can program by putting your figure there. So whatever the list will be, if it's a huge, it will still come. Do you get it? Because you are not making it. So this is a dynamic data. So it means that you've provided the last. So even if it's 20 or 1,000, so it can still give you, because you've placed the last, you've done the calculation already and you place everything. So now based on your calculation, it's going to give you any data that you pass through this.
Sure.
I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay. We've gotten the basic understanding of slicing. Okay. Now we can build on. Okay. So the next part I want us to look at is also simple. Okay. So as you can see here, we've gotten the basic understanding of this. Now, the as you can see, I'm starting from 5. Okay. Let's say column this, and then I'll end at 5. Now you realize there's a trend. Have you realized there's a trend? A trend means that after each index it add what? 1. If you can check it well,
Mm-hmm.
it add 1 to it, if you can check. So by default Python has this one. So this, when you see something like this, means that this is the starting, this is where it will end, and this is what we call incremental, or I can say skipping. So increment means that after each index add 1. So now it will know that when I move from 0, the next one it will add 1 to 0, then you get to what? 2. So how will Python know that when I move from here, this index 0, then I will move, the next one will be 1. If you check here, from this one that we did, realize that it moved from what? 0 index, then the next one it added 1 to the 0, making what? 1. Then when it became 1, it add another 1 to 1, making 2. Add another 1 to 2, making 3. Like that, as it's moving. Mean that we are increasing by what? 1, by its default. So when it default, we don't write it. You can write it. So if you write this one like this, it will still be the same thing. So you see that we are what? Getting what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you get it? What are we adding? We are just adding 1. So 1 will add to 0, then give us what? 1. Then 1 to 1 gave us 2. 1 to 2 gave us 3. Then 1 to give us that. In position, I'm just talking about the position before we get the value. I hope it's clear.
So the addition of the 1 is not necessary. Why did we add it?
Yeah, so why do we add? That's the question.
No, we are getting to your point. Okay. So I'm saying that by default, it's like that. Okay, it's adding 1 as it's moving, as you can see that adding 1. Okay, so that is the main reason why it will be able to know that from this, the first index, I'll move to the second index, I'll move to the third index, like sequential. Okay, but the what happen is you can skip the incremental. So either 1, I can decide to say, hey, I'm skipping it. So maybe I'll add. So if I add instead of 1, that means that you need to write it. By default, it's 1. Okay. So if I make it like this, you realize that now it started from 0, then it will 0, it will add 2 to 0. When you add 2, now I will skip what? If there's 1. Do you realize that?
Okay.
Then when you add 2 to this, it makes what? 4. So I'll skip what? Index 3. I hope it's clear. So we call this one incremental or skipping. But by default, it's just adding 1. So you don't even need to write. But if maybe you want to skip certain item and get specific numbers, okay, so maybe I want to have just even, not or odd. Okay, so in that case, you can just increase your this number, and then maybe I'll place here 9. If I place here 9 and I run this code, what do I have? I have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Even if I add 1 plus 1, we know this one is the last index. If I add plus 1, still, what would the output be like?
It's still the same.
It's still same.
Yes.
Okay, it's still same because of the skipping. I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So this, what we've just done is the positive indexing. Okay. So we use this positive slicing, where we are slicing from our left to right. Okay, that is positive. Then we have a negative slicing. Okay, so now that the positive is okay, let's move on to negative. Okay, so now the same thing that we've done. So now we want to move from negative. So now I can have here, if for instance if I have if I have negative 9. Okay, so what does it mean? What do you see here? Hello.
Yeah. So I think it's so the last, there are 10 digits. So if you take 9 digits out, you get 1.
You get 1. Okay. So now, if you are going to use the slicing, it is a different thing. So for now, in slicing, I have this one here, and then I'm starting from negative 1. Okay, so the last item, it means that the last item here, what it means, what I just did means that the last item here will be what? The last item will be this. Let me show you. What one do you see here?
9.
9. So it means that we are now, the last item is negative 1. That's what it means. We are now making negative index. So it means that if you need the last item 9, so this is negative 1. So if I want the last byte 1 here, after the 9, if I want 8, that will be what? Negative 2. 7 will be negative 3. 6 will be negative what? 4.
4.
Negative 3. Okay.
Okay.
So it will move on to the last. Okay. So if I change here to negative 2, okay, that is going to give me the
8.
next one, 8. Okay. If I change it to negative 5, Okay,
5.
so you
To
could
give you
see
5.
that I have, okay, like that. If I move on to -6, that would be what?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3.
What do you have there?
I think 3. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4.
We
4.
have -3. Okay, so if I move on to -7,
We get 3.
okay, you can see 3. If I move on to -8,
2.
what? 2. So -9 is going to give us what?
1.
1. Okay, so that is the negative indexing. Okay, and if I want 0, 0 will be what? 0 will be what?
10.
10, -10.
-10.
Yes, so that is 0. Okay, it means that you are moving from your right to your left. Okay, that is, you are starting from the back, and that is negative. But if you are starting from front, that starts from what? 0.
Mm. Okay.
Do you get it?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the difference. So you can also do your slicing in the negative form. Okay, so if I'm going to do my slicing in negative form, and that's going to be the same thing. So if I start from here, and I say -5 column -1, I believe you understand. So that is going to give me what? What do you have here?
5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8. Now you could see that I don't have the 9. So for instance, if I want to have the 9, what do I need to get the 9?
Plus
Because
1.
you know that this one means that you are was stopping at what? You are stopping at, that is starting at -5 and stopping at what? -1. It's still the same. So if now I want to have that, what do I need to do?
We'll do -1 again.
You do what? If you do -1, that would be what? Minus will be what? -2. How do you know that?
Uh,
Yeah. So what do we need to do? From the last, what we did there, understanding?
the question, you wanted to include 9.
9, yes. I want it to include 9.
Was it, you do +1? +1?
You do +1. If you do +1 here, what do you think will be?
So it will be one.
What do you think it will be? 0. Because, of course, when you add this plus this, what will be this plus this will be what?
It will be just be the -5. 0. It will be 0. So it will be -5 colon, like,
Column. But when it will make here 0, that's what it will be.
yeah.
Here will be 0. And it doesn't know where it start. If I'm starting here by stopping at 0, it doesn't make sense. That's why it is at 30. Do you get it?
Mm-hmm.
Because you are starting at -5. Why are you saying you are stopping at 0? But you know that 0 is starting from what? the left. Do you get it?
Mhm.
That's positive index. If we see this, if we are doing this, and then we do 0, do you get it? How do you understand? Because this is, we are starting at -5. -5 will be where? In the middle, right?
Mhm.
Somewhere in the middle. But we know that 0 is what? A starting point. Do you get it? So
Yeah.
of course, if maybe we've done something like this, if maybe here was 0, if here was, let's say, 0, and then we have here like -5. Okay, in that it makes sense because you're starting at what? 0 and ending at -5. But we know that -5, we know what -5 means, and starting at 0, we know what it means. So that will make sense. But when you come here and use the other way round, you realize it doesn't make sense. Okay, because we know that 0, of course, will start from the beginning. I hope it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So to solve this, we can either decide to, maybe because we want to have access to this, we can either to leave this one empty. When you leave it empty, mean that starting from -5 and ending at the last, printing the last one and end. Do you get it?
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah. So now it will give you everything and end. Okay. So that is how this one works. Okay. Now, I hope now the negative indexing is also better,
Yeah.
the understanding is better. Okay. So we can still add on with the indexing. So now let's look at one aspect. So for this, if I have this, we already know what this one means. If I have 0 and then I have 9 plus 1, I think we know what the output will be like, right?
Yeah. 0 to 9.
0 to 9. So you could see that we have what? 0 to 9. Okay. Now, if I change, and we also know what this one means, right? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So by default it's 1. So if I still keep this one, to still be the same. Okay. Now, if I come here instead of 1, and then I change this one to -1. Now let's see something here. What happened? Hello. Hello. Hello.
To 8.
Yeah.
What happened?
I choose some. I don't know whether it's an error or something that it doesn't make sense.
Added negative to that, and you realize that the increment. I'm seeing the increment. You know this is increment, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so if I add 0, okay, if I add -1, okay, and I run, and then you saw, sorry, I didn't add the number. If I add -1 like this and I run, you realize that I keep empty. So from all that you've done, just analyze it. Why did it just keep like empty? But I did not add anything from what you've done so far.
Because from 0 to 9, the incremental, like, it's not -1.
Mm-hmm. So when you do minus, what does it imply?
Means it's negative.
So it makes it negative. So it makes it this one negative. So what it means is that instead of this one, it's starting like this. It's starting like this. Let's see here. Let me change this one. Let's put something like this one. Negative 1. Okay. This one is negative 1. As you can see here, this negative 1 here. Okay. But when it happen like this one, what it means is that I have 0, which is here. I have 0, which is here. But this line actually means that we are supposed to increase the 0 as it move on. But what are we increasing the 0 for with? We are increasing the 0 with what? A default number, which is what? Which is 1. Okay. So instead of 1, and then I've changed this 1. I've changed this 1 to negative 1. Okay. What it means is that it cannot add. It cannot add anything. So it sees that does not make sense like the way we did the first one. Okay. It sees that because it's supposed to go through this up to this end, but since it cannot go through, see that does not make sense. So Python will just give you empty because of course it doesn't see this one that starting by adding, so it will go by negative with a positive value here. So it sees that doesn't make sense. So automatically it will throw the empty of this. Now, if I have column, let's see this one. I'm having column like this. Now, see another funny things will happen. Sorry. If let me change this one to 2. Now, if I have this one column, and then you could see that this number here, this is 2. What is happening here? If you analyze this one carefully, what is happening here? Column, negative 2, increment 0. What is happening? Like from all that we've done so far, what is happening? Hello.
Yeah, I hear
Hello.
you.
Yeah, I'm asking you question. I'm saying that when you check here, if you like, for now we already know what this one means. We already know what the column means. We already know what the column means. And we already know what the negative value means. So now I'm asking that if you look at this, for instance, if I come here, column, and I still maintain 1, okay, do you see the same thing that will come? Okay, so what I'm asking that when you check this output, In the same way that I asked you with this, what do you think? What is happening here? That you only have index 0 coming out. If I change this one to positive value,
Okay, so it means that whenever you put there's a negative value,
yes,
the
if
answer
you
always
change
be zero.
it give us all. But when it becomes negative, I just want us to just put our mind with the negative stuff. Okay, so if I change here to negative, because when it's 2, what does it mean with this one? What does it mean? Like here,
So it
how
means that okay.
how will you interpret that?
The increment, just the increment.
Yeah, so it means that the stopping, we are leaving the stopping to be the get there the last and stop. That's what it means. Okay. But because the way I've presented it, if I make here 1, it means that I want to print everything. So the start from 0 and end at what 9. That's
9,
what
yeah.
this one. Do you get it? Because you are seeing this one, that's what making you confused. Okay, when I left it like this, maybe it's making you confused that way. So in the same way, when we started with the negative, it's the same thing, but I just clear this value here, okay, and then I just maintain what the column that is there. That is the only thing. But apart from that, you could see that the whole thing. So the idea is, if I'm starting from negative, I should follow that pattern, because we have the negative means that you are moving from the back to front. If I'm moving from positive, you are moving from what? The front towards the back. So if you start from here, if I start from negative, let's say negative 1, okay, because I know that this one, the incremental, since I'm starting from here, the incremental should be what? What will be the incremental?
For which one?
The positive, incremental for positive should be positive,
Yeah.
okay, and the incremental for negative should be what?
Should it be negative 2?
Because here, if you have the number here, if I have negative, we know the last number is what? The last number is what? Negative what? Negative 1.
1.
Okay, so yes, so if I make start with negative value here, which is let's say negative 1 at this column, okay, and then I maintain here negative 9, okay, sorry, negative 9 is here, okay, so here is negative 1. So as it's moving on, it's adding, sorry, as it's moving on, what it means that it's going to add a negative value to whatever that you are adding. So if I'm here and then I have 9, if I'm here and then I have, let's say, negative, if I'm here and I have negative 1, okay, as the value. Now, if I want the next number, it's going to add another number to it. Okay, so this is 2. So how do you know that you move from 1, then you go to 2? Okay, based on this number is going to be what? 2. This number is going to be 2. Okay, so it means that here it's going to stop at this point and add this. So what it means that from -1, it move one step by adding what? A negative value, which is what? Making the -2. If I want to move another step, and let's say I want to have the next 3 value. So here is going to be what? Negative, let's say 4. So if here is -4, it means that as you are moving, it's adding a negative value to it. So now you can see that I have what? 8, 7, 6. That means that from -1, then it move what? -2, which gave me what? The next number. So when you add -1 to negative, another negative, it's going to give you another negative value. Okay, then you add another -2 plus that is going to give you the negative value. So that is how it will go up to -10. So if I'm also from the positive side, it's also going to add 1 till you get to the last number, because you know that the positive is starting from what? 0. So that is also going to add 0, 1 up to the last, you get to what? The 9. So that is the difference which I want you to know. So if I'm moving from the back, I'm adding -1 till I get to the last. So if I have 10 items in and I want to use my back and move forward, then it means that the last one is starting from -1, then you move on to -2, -3, -2, you get to 10. So to get that, you can use your length function to get the whole length of whatever item that you have there. Okay, and if you are going to use the negative value, then you know what you will do. Okay, but if you are not going to use the negative and you want to use the positive indexing, you also know what you will do. But the main idea is slicing is to copy parts of what? The elements that you have. So if I have a list, I'm just copying part of the element from the list. If I have a string, I'm just copying the part of what? The element from what? The string. That is, you are slicing part. If I'm not going to slice and then I want to um, just use the indexes, you know that a list uses what? Index, because it occupy what? The position. So list uses index, string uses index. Where we talk about, let me go up. So those that uses indexes. So we have here a string uses indexing. So if you want to get the element of a string, like what we did, you use index. Let's use index. And then we have this one. A dictionary does not use index. So a dictionary use what? A key value pair. We will get there. So this one does not use index. So if I want to get an element from a dictionary, I'm not going to use index. You use a key value pair. A tuple also use indexes. Okay, so these are some of the things that you might take note of. Okay, now when you come to this one, bytes also use indexes, but the difference is we will get there. I don't want to confuse you with the bytes now, because when you want to copy element of a byte, it's going to give you what we call an integer. Okay, but when we get there, you will understand. Okay, but for now, let's get the understanding of what the slicing. If it's clear, then we can continue. Or if you also have any question when it comes to the slides.
I think for me, when the negative started coming in, starting, that got me a bit confused. So like you have a point where you have the number underscore 0_9. Then into the bracket, the how do you call it? That bracket is what, a straight bracket or a square bracket? No, a square bracket. You have -9 hyphen, not hyphen, -9, and then that slicing sign, -1, slicing another -1. Of course, it threw an error, but I didn't get the explanation very well.
Which one?
The point, the third one from where you are, the fourth one, from where your cursor is, when you go forth. So 2, 3, 4. No, the next one, yes.
This one.
Yeah.
This one. Are you talking about this one?
Yes.
Okay. So now, what I want you to know is that from here, if I have, let's say, number underscore 0_9, then I have one here. Let's say -1. Okay. Now, if I stand from here, this actually will give us from what we have here. Okay. Now, if I move from here, and then let's say I have a negative. Let's say negative. Negative. So this is what. Now from here, what I want you to understand here. If I clock on this, you could see something here that we have negative. You can see that there's nothing showing here. Okay. Now, in terms of adding the values and stuff here, you already know if maybe I have an index or I want to add some value to all these ones. How does it work? Okay, let me ask you a basic understanding. So if you have a negative value and then you want to add another negative value, what are the indices? What does it do? What are the addition? What does it do?
The negative increase in value, or
No, I'm asking the negative value. Okay, so if I have a negative value, okay, like you have a negative value and then you are increasing. So what when I remove here, okay, to this, you saw something. What was it doing? What was the output? How will you analyze this from this figure? How will you analyze that?
so from this figure, it's the -9 give us where it's going to start from, but we are doing slicing. So if it is a 10 figure and you are subtracting 9, then
Mm-hmm.
it is left with the first. Is it the first? Like
Mm-hmm.
it means you are taking the
Mm-hmm.
like you are taking the first out. I don't know whether that
Mm-hmm.
is it. And then the
You are
ending,
taking
the
this
negative,
one out. You say you are taking something out.
the first item also.
You are taking
The
the
first
first
item in
item
the list. And then
in
the
the list.
negative one would in the list, yeah. Then the negative one takes the last item in the list. I don't know whether that's explains it. That's how I understood it.
The negative one will take the last. So now let's take the negative understanding of this one. So
Mhm.
if we are here, we already know that you are moving from your left to your right. Okay. So
Yeah.
if I'm moving from my left to my right, what does it implies? It means that you are moving from the least to the high. But in terms of negative, that is from your highest towards your least. Even if though we
Yes.
have a negative value, which is maybe 9. In terms of value, which one is bigger? Which one is bigger?
The negative one, say again, in terms of value, between the negative 9 and the negative 1,
Yes, I'm saying that in terms of value, the negative 1 and the negative 9, which one is bigger?
the negative 1.
The negative 1. Okay. And then we also know that when we come to the positive, if I have a positive figure and then I want to increase it, we already know what happened.
Sure.
Okay. We know that if I'm increasing, it's add what? 1. Okay. So your question is now when it's a negative result, what happened to each order? Is not what the question.
Yeah, the last negative, which was
Mm-hmm.
because why if it was 1, because it's
Mm-hmm.
default, it wouldn't have affected it, right? That when the thing that you copied back, the way I raised the issue, where
Mm-hmm.
you have the negative 1 ending it. If it was
Mm-hmm.
1, it wouldn't have created any issue. It wouldn't have changed
Mm-hmm.
anything. Uh-huh.
Okay, so now what I would say is that let me put it this way. Now I have elements. Okay, let me pick a small element and just do the explanation. Okay, so if I have this, let's say I have these numbers that I want to use. Okay, so I'm just going to use this number. Let's use small number here, number, and then I'll assign this number to a string. Okay, so here I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now with this number, and then I will do my slice. So now I have number, okay, which I'll put my slicing to be the numbers that I will pick. Okay, so in this case, the least number will be what? In terms of indexing, if you are starting from 0, negative, that will be what? 3, right?
Sure.
And then I have my column. What will be the stopping index? That will be what? That will be 1. Okay, so that will be the last index. And then if I have the negative value again here, which is 1, that is the increment. Okay, so now if I run this one, this is where your argument is right. That why is it that we have the negative the empty? Is
Yeah.
that what we are saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now the reason is, first thing is let's refer to the number that we have here, which is the number what? -3. So what does the -3 implies? What does it imply? What does it refer to? It refers to what? What does it refer to?
The
Is it not the first element? If you have the negative here, -3,
yeah,
from what I've given you, what does it refer to? Like 1, 2, 3. What does it
3.
refer to?
Yeah,
It refers to the first element. Okay.
sure.
Now, if I have -1 here, what does it also refer to? Like the -1 here. What are you referring to?
It's the ending. Oh,
The ending. So also refer to what? Is it the last element or it's referred to the last element, right? That is the
element.
ending.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so now what are the negative value here? What is it also referred to?
So that's where the challenge is, because if it you had
So
written
now,
1, it wouldn't have changed anything.
you know that you want to slice what backwards. That's what this one means.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. This one simply means that you want to slice what? Backwards, like the negative value that we have. Okay, because you anytime you have a negative step, negative step here, it means that you want to what? Slice backwards. Okay. But since we are starting at what? Index 3, okay, which is negative. Okay. So the first element, and you are trying to slide backwards towards what? The last what? Index. Okay. So what do you think will happen? Hmm? What do you think will happen? You are slicing from what? The first element. And then you also want to slide backwards, okay, to the last element. So it means that there's no going to be a valid way to end from 1 to 4 with the reverse order, because the way that this one is showing here, we won't get it done well, okay, because you already have what? You are starting from negative here, and then you want to slide backwards. Okay, so in that case, that is not going to be done well. Okay, so that is what is happening here. If I have, let's say, this one, I'm going to have here. Uh this is one. Let's say this is one. Let me start from one. Okay, and then here is, let's say, 3, and run the same way. Okay, now you could see that what do we have here? What do we have here? It is the same thing. Okay, you
Yeah.
are seeing this. What that I want you to understand is that this negative that you are having here is signalizing negative backwards or reverse order. Okay, so once I already have a number here, which is 3, okay, which means that this 3 is the first what? Element. Okay, it refers to the first element. Now, if I have the next one, which is the negative, also refers to what? The last element. Okay. Now, the step, you already know that whatever that you have here is the step from our previous understanding. That is the step. So
Sure.
your step can be your increment or whatever. So that also indicates that you want to slice what? Backwards. Okay, that's what it means here.
Okay.
This negative means that you want to slide backward. However, since we are starting at index -3, okay, so the first element, and we are trying to slice what? Backwards. index. Okay, slice on backwards index, because this is your backwards index. That's -1. Okay, which is the last what element. Okay, therefore no valid way to what go from negative, like maybe 1 to 4. Let's say positive, maybe 1 to 4. It won't work. Okay, so in your reverse one, definitely is going to give us what an empty string, because actually it will not get anything out of this. You get it?
Okay.
Did you get the understanding?
I think I'll manage with it.
I think with revision, like when you go back and like watch
Sure.
the video, you understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
I say mostly when we go back to watch the video, like not live session like this. When
Sure.
you send the link and we go back, it's you get it.
Sure.
Okay. So basic thing that I really want you to understand is that what that we are doing is, this is the slice. Okay, I have the first element which I want to slice, which you already know that I'm starting from the first one. Okay, now if I have the next one, which means that here this is where you are stopping. Now if I have the next one, which is this, which also means that this is where you want to what you want to skip. Okay, like you add, but since it's a negative way, you want to reverse. So to reverse this one will be like you start from maybe 1. You start from, instead of moving from -3 here as you have here, you want to reverse it back. Okay, but to reverse back, because this one is negative and we are starting from a negative indices here, definitely it's going to give you empty string. Okay, so that is what it means here. Okay, so if you try all these ones, nothing will come, because in actual sense, whatever that you are trying to do, the reverse will not work, because you are starting from a negative index and then you are ending from the last, which is also negative. So if that is the case, it's not going to work. You will get an empty. Okay. So apart from that, do you have any other?
For now, no. We'll just have to keep on revising and memorizing these various, like how to actually
Mhm.
understand these
Yeah.
and using them.
Okay. So that is the basics understanding here. I think what we've gotten here is the basic understanding is there. You are able to go through that, and then we are able to use either the positive or the negative index. Okay, so once we've gotten this point, that is it. Okay, so with this, maybe as time goes on, you will understand it better. Okay, like you said, you go over it again and then you watch the video, you get it over, and then maybe when you try some of these things and you see the reverse what you are doing, I think you will get the understanding better. Okay. Okay, so when you check the notes that I gave, this actually gives you the basic stuff. Okay, so you see that we have negative. So you can see that if I want to, like, the last element to subtract 1 from which you just went through, and then we have here. So this, when you are moving from here, you are getting this element. Okay, so you are getting everything from this. Okay, when I start from 3, it means that I'm starting from the first index and the third index, and then getting the rest, everything from there. And the same way to this. Okay, if I start from here, you mean that you are moving from this part to that. Okay, here, this is where you start from. So here I'm starting from 3 and then stopping at 7 and then doing the increment. Okay, So it means that I'm increased from 2. So definitely it's going to give you this. And then when you have here, it means that you are starting from 0 indexing, stopping at NT, and here is you are increasing by 3. Okay, so that is the basics that you can see here. I went further to explain other concept to you there, but I believe as time goes on, you understand what's explaining to you. Okay, but I've given you other aspect of the negative indexing, and then let you know the skip other aspect of it. But this is the basics one that actually you needed to know. So the one that I just added to you is also that is what mostly you face when it comes to maybe your programming in reality. Okay, so you just go through the video. When I send it, just go through the video. You will read around it to get the way. Okay. Okay. So thank you very much, and see you tomorrow same time.
Okay, thank you.
Wednesday or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think today we are meeting. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. Tomorrow we are not
Wednesday.
meeting.
Yeah.
That
We use
will be
tomorrow to break up, to go over.
Yeah. Go. So
yeah. So
thank
I'll
you.
forward the video to you.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Sure.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.